Here's a quick review about multiplying numbers in scientific notation. For the first example, we have 2 times 10 to the 5th times 7 times 10 to the 3rd. The first thing you can do is regroup the numbers. So put 2 times 7 first, and then multiply times 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 3rd. 2 times 7 is 14, and using your properties of exponents to multiply 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 3rd, you're going to add the exponents and end up with 14 times 10 to the 8th. Here's another example. First, regroup the numbers. So 1.5 times 10 to the 4th times 6 times 10 to the 8th, we regrouped to 1.5 times 6 times 10 to the 4th times 10 to the 8th. Then we end up with 9 times 10 to the 4 plus 8, using the properties of exponents. And then we end up with 9 times 10 to the 12th power. Here's a review of dividing scientific notation. For the first example, we have 1.8 times 10 to the 7th power divided by 6 times 10 to the 3rd power. First thing you do is take off those first two numbers and make their own fraction. 1.8 divided by 6. Then we'll multiply that times 10 to the 7th over 10 to the 3rd, which we can use our properties of exponents to simplify. 1.8 divided by 6 is 0.3, and 10 to the 7th divided by 10 to the 3rd, whenever you divide, if the base is the same, you're going to subtract the exponents, so that ends up being 10 to the 4th. But that's not in scientific notation. We need to move the decimal over one place. Here's a helpful hint for if you have to change it to scientific notation, and it's already got a power of 10. If you have to make the first part larger, then you have to make the exponent smaller. But if you have to make the first part smaller, then you need to make the exponent larger. Let's look at adding and subtracting scientific notation. The most important thing you need to do is to make the exponents the same. Here's our example for addition. 5.2 times 10 to the 3rd plus 1.7 times 10 to the 4th. Let's take the smaller exponent and make it match the larger exponent. So remember, if we're going to make the exponent larger, we need to make the other number smaller. So we moved the decimal one place to the left since we changed the exponent one number larger. So now we have 0.52 times 10 to the 4th. And then the other part we can just leave as it is, 1.7 times 10 to the 4th. Then we add 0.52 plus 1.7 and multiply the whole thing times 10 to the 4th using the distributive property. We can change it that way. 1.7 plus 0.52 is 2.22. Then we write that times 10 to the 4th, and it is in scientific notation, so you don't need to change it. Let's look at a subtraction problem. Here we'll try it with negative exponents. So you need to take the smaller of the two exponents. So now that's negative 6, and we need to change it to negative 5. So we'll leave the first part the same. And since we have to change the exponent on the second part to negative 5, we're changing it one larger, so we have to make the other number smaller. So we moved the decimal over one place because we changed the exponent by one number. Then we can regroup the numbers using the distributive property. So we put the two numbers that we're subtracting together and multiply the whole thing times 10 to the negative fifth. Then we subtract 3.7 minus 0.12 and get 3.58 and multiply it by 10 to the negative fifth, which is in scientific notation, so we don't need to do anything else to it. Hopefully that helped you remember how to multiply, divide, add, and subtract scientific notation.